that all the time.
Yeah.
For the benefits of the audience, can you tell everybody what you do, what your job title is, what you do, and who you work for?
Yeah. I'm Gordon Hurst. I work for Wellington City Council. My job title would be the Corporate GIS Team Lead. Formerly to that, it was the Corporate GIS and Business Intelligence Team Lead. Nice try there. What I do at Council? Well, I manage a corporate GIS team that looks after the peripheral GIS teams within Council, both from a governance, strategic, architectural, security, infrastructure premise. So my team basically wears
you can continue.
Yeah, I'll continue now. So my team basically wears a lot of hats. The adage of what's it? My words are gone now. You got me. A jack of all trades, a master of none.
Yeah.
Apart from we are master of quite a few trades.
Right.
We have plenty to keep us busy.
So what do you use? Like, do you work directly with FME, developing with it, or do you look more from an architectural perspective, find out where it fits in?
Yeah, so kind of the whole umbrella really. So we don't really develop because we do have a dedicated developers team.
Right.
But what we do with FME is we use it for sort of data-driven aspects. We use it because it's real simple to use. It's for us it's quite simplistic, and that's the great thing about it, because you can be at different levels technical capability, but FME is easy to use just from a visual perspective.
And it's interesting you say that, because when I take training, that's one of the things that we get across to people, and very quickly they start to understand. Like, you don't have to be a developer to use FME. It's like if you can understand like a process diagram and you reconcile that with like a transformers and stuff in FME, gosh, you could do so much with it, right?
Oh, definitely. And if you are from a developer's perspective, you can actually look at the reverse visual within FME and pull out the Python code and interrogate it as you will.
How good is that?
That's good. That's a good feeling.
Next level.
Yeah.
I mean, like Lamborghini, 610 brake horsepower, 4-wheel drive, 5.2 litre V10, right? Like, it's just next level, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the task. So you use FME, or the organisation uses FME. Obviously, you clearly see the benefit.
Yep.
Do you use like as an enterprise solution? So you've got like desktop and server. They're both of those.
So we've got FME Cloud at the moment.
Oh, okay, right.
And we currently use that for our health inspectors. So when they go out to site, they fill out questionnaires and they grab data from different sources, and then they upload it, and we use FME to actually get it into a workable dashboard.
Right.
So we can run analytics from it later on. FME server, we are currently, I say currently, within the next few weeks, I'm hoping to get a FME server live,
right.
Or at least the architecture live, and then we'll be utilising it a lot more with ArcGIS and STE.
How about that for sound?
Yeah.
It's fair to say that there's business benefits from an organisation perspective, like cost savings, etc., from using something like FME.
I definitely would. I don't think it is dependent on the size of the business either. You could be a one-man band and it's going to be really useful, or you can have 10,000 employees. There's definitely user cases for it. From a business perspective, I found the customer service to be excellent. So if there has been any issue, we've always got direct feedback straight away, which is regardless what the product is, if your customer service is terrible, then it's not going to work. But FME, Locus, you know, you guys are really good. I really do like the collaboration that we have.
Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, look, when you talk about, it's interesting when you brought up that kind of one-man band, you know, because XtremeX is a one-man band.
Yeah.
And the whole booking system built from the ground up using FME. Even the video editing that we normally do for our customers is all automated using FME.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really. GPS cuts it out, snips it together, and so on. But yeah, so you're absolutely right. You know, like there's, I think there's huge benefits of using FME. It's simple to use.
Yeah.
And yeah, just it's fun to use as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'd almost say as well that, you know, if you look at it, every single problem you can think of within an organisation, I often say this, you can 100%, well, 99.9% of the time use FME.
Yeah.
The question sometimes has to be asked though, is FME the right thing for the job, right? You know, because just because you can use FME to do something doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
So that's obviously important. So what about yourself? Like, have you ever used FME itself? Like, or are you just aware of it from what you're doing within your organisation?
I've used FME quite a bit in the past. Obviously, my role now doesn't really facilitate it too much. But the great thing about it is when my team is using it, I can look at their screens and I know.
I struggle not to laugh as well, right? Because it's just so much fun. Yeah, so you look at their screens as they're using it,
and I can follow what they're doing. And more importantly, if they're stuck and I see them scratching their heads in the rhetorical sense, I can actually advise or suggest things based on what I've done in the past. And more often than not, it's a little bit of research when you're dealing with transformers and different things, but it goes with any project. And today, if it was too easy, we wouldn't actually be learning what we're doing.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
But what about is there anything that sticks out in your mind with respect to projects that you've done that you've gone, oh wow, we're so glad that we had FME to do that, because that would have been really hard otherwise?
Yeah, I would say probably not one project, but there's quite a few. We promote FME internally to our different business units, so even if we're not using it, it is a product that we stick on the list of things to maybe consider. For example, we had one gentleman, he wanted to learn how to use Python, and we told him to use FME. You figure out your workflows, your processes, and then he can look at the Python code behind it and understand what is actually going in, what does what. It was his original stepping stone to learning Python. So not only is it a product in itself, FME, it's also a learning tool for languages.
It's that whole thing, right? If FME is built around processing information, understanding the flow of data, what needs to happen to it, right? And it does that really, really well. But because you're doing that all the time, that relates to everything you do. Whether you have to develop some kind of code, again, it's process orientated, and you have to reconcile that with the language you're writing. Really understanding process and what needs to happen in the different steps is really fundamental to being able to use FME or anything else. Just FME makes it really easy to do that, right?
Yeah, and from a visual perspective, you create your workbench and you click run or play, and you can actually see where it's processing and where your bottlenecks are in your workflow, or
it's self-documenting, right?
Self-documenting,
if you've got a little bit of knowledge, you can easily look and see what's going on, and if you've got a question or what's this transformer doing, and somebody's not maybe annotated, you can go and have a wee look at it. Usually the name gives a kind of idea on what's taking place, but even somebody with sort of low-level skills, low-level exposure to FME could start to logically work out what's going on there, right?
No, definitely.
All right, well, hey, look, Gordon, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Thank you very much.